Bienvenidos a Coffee Break Spanish.
Welcome to the Coffee Break Spanish Show. Yo soy Concha.
Y yo soy Anabel. ¿Qué tal, Concha?
Muy bien, Anabel. ¿Tú cómo estás?
Yo bien y con muchas ganas.
Yes, we are here with another episode from the Coffee Break Spanish Show. So in these weekly episodes, we help you learn Spanish one coffee break at a time.
And if you are watching the video version, remember to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Or if you are listening to us, then subscribe to the podcast.
Eso es. So, Anabel, what are we going to be talking about today?
So today we are going to be talking about how to express obligation in Spanish.
Ok, perfecto. Pues, ¿empezamos?
Venga, vamos allá. Bueno, so to express obligation in Spanish, we actually use three main expressions.
Sí.
So we are going to start with deber
Vamos
plus
allá. Venga.
infinitive. So we are going to have the verb deber, and then we are going to add just right away the infinitive. But first, shall we remind the conjugation of the verb deber?
Yeah, it's not too difficult because it's a regular verb.
And it means to must.
Exacto.
Okay, so I must,
Yo debo,
you must,
debes,
he, she must,
debe,
we must,
debemos,
you all must,
debéis,
and they must.
deben.
Eso es. And then just after that, the infinitive.
Exacto.
So shall we see some examples?
Venga.
Okay. So the first example is debemos hacer los deberes.
Eso es. So this would mean we must do our homework.
So we must is debemos, and then do, just like in English, we are using the infinitive, just the straight infinitive. So hacer, debemos hacer, and then los deberes, the homework. We must do.
Exacto.
Another example is debes aprender idiomas. I love this one.
Yes, because everyone should or must.
Uh-huh.
In this case, you must learn languages. So in this case, we are talking exactly to a person. You must learn languages. Debes aprender idiomas, Anabel.
Yeah, and I love that you are saying like you, as like you, Anabel, or you, Concha, must learn languages. Because we are like in the next example, we are going to see something a little bit different.
Exacto.
And this one says, se debe reciclar.
Exactly. So this one would be you must recycle, but this is not the you as in I'm talking to you specifically. This is a more general you that we're looking at here. So in general, one must recycle, we could say as well.
Eso es. So you must recycle as you, the listener, you must recycle is debes reciclar. But if it's just in general, like we all as a community, we must recycle, es se debe reciclar.
Exactly. I think this is going to come up a few times in this episode. So
Eso es.
if you are not too sure about how to use it yet, don't worry because we are going to have a couple of more examples.
Eso es. And the only difference is that, as you said, we are using a se just before debe. So it's se debe and then the infinitive. Just learn it as a set phrase.
Exactly.
Se debe and then the infinitive.
Eso es. So that was deber and that is must. So something strong.
Eso es.
Deber.
But we have another one that is a little bit not as strong.
And actually, I was speaking to Mark about this not so long ago because we were talking about the verb tener. And it's the verb that we are going to be using for this expression. So this one is tener que plus an infinitive. This one we would translate as have to do something, okay? But before we see any examples, let's conjugate the verb tener.
Yeah.
Because this one is irregular. Okay, so Anabel, how would you say I have?
Tengo.
Muy bien. You have?
Tienes.
Muy bien. He or she has?
Tiene.
We have?
Tenemos.
You, plural, have?
Tenéis.
And they have?
Tienen.
Exacto, muy bien. So, for the expression tener que plus an infinitive, like we said, is as strong as must, as deber. But yeah, we can translate it as have to or need to sometimes as well, depends on the context. But we need to put the que in there.
Eso es. So do not confuse like these two as it has to be deber and then the infinitive and then tener que and infinitive.
Exacto. But we are also using the infinitive, so it's quite straightforward. So let's have a look at one example. Tengo que repasar los verbos irregulares, and I think we all must.
Yeah. I have to revise the irregular verbs.
Ajá, exactamente. So we have tengo, I have. Tengo que repasar. So I have to revise. So like we said, the verb tener conjugated plus the que, very important, and then the infinitive.
Eso es, sí.
Vale. Otro ejemplo, tenéis que llamar a mamá. What does this mean?
You have to call mom. And here is a general you, like a plural you.
Exactamente. Tenéis que llamar a mamá. So again, tener que plus that infinitive for llamar. You have to call mom.
Mm-hmm.
And one more example, and this will be familiar to you already. Se tiene que cuidar el planeta. Mm-hmm. Se tiene que cuidar el planeta. Anabel, what does this mean?
Well, this means you have to take care of the planet, but it's not like, Concha, you have to take care of the planet.
Ajá.
It's more of that general you, like one has to take care of the planet. Se tiene que cuidar el planeta.
Exactamente. And we see that se again there, and the verb tener is conjugated in the third person singular, like before with se debe, ahora se tiene que. So a more general obligation, let's say. Everybody has to take care of the planet, so se tiene que cuidar el planeta.
Eso es.
Vale. Yo creo que deber y tener que, ¿está bien?
Eso es. Now, let's make it just slightly difficult, like a little bit more difficult.
Me gusta.
So we have seen se debe plus the infinitive and then se tiene que plus the infinitive. Mm-hmm. This just means that one has to do something or one must do something. There is a specific structure in Spanish just for this general thing.
Yes.
And it's hay que plus the infinitive. Hay que plus the infinitive. And the good news is that we don't need to conjugate anything.
Bien.
So it's just hay que and then that infinitive. And remember, that is that general idea. Let's see this with one example.
Venga.
Yeah? So the example is hay que limpiar la casa.
So true. Okay, so this means one has to clean the house.
Eso es. So I like to think of this one like, imagine that you have been cleaning the house like week after week after week, and your flatmate or your spouse hasn't been like doing much. And you think it's about time that they help. Instead of saying like, tienes que limpiar la casa or debes limpiar la casa, that could be a little bit aggressive, right?
Sí, demasiado.
So we can use that general idea that is, hay que limpiar la casa.
Ajá.
Kind of like the house needs cleaning, you know? It's not like you should do it, you must do it. It's just, we need to do this.
Yeah, in general, let's do this, you know, we have to.
Eso es. I think it's very useful.
Sí, totalmente, estoy de acuerdo.
Let's see one more example. And this one is, hay que ser puntual.
Mm-hmm. So this means one has to be punctual, which is something that we struggle with in Spain quite a lot.
Oh, really? I'm very punctual. And actually, this is a sentence that I always say. Just not to say, no, but just like, you know, when you are meeting up with people and they tend to be late. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying like, oh, you're late again, it's like, you know, we should be punctual. One must be punctual. So
sí.
Hay que ser puntual.
Exactamente. So again, it's not like you are doing this wrong. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Hay que ser puntual.
We are not targeting anyone. So shall we recap a little bit?
Yes, let's go for it.
So we have seen 3 different structures just to express obligation in Spanish. The first one is deber and then the infinitive. That is must, like to must do something.
Exacto. Then we had the verb tener que plus an infinitive, and this again takes the meaning of must a little bit, but we can also translate it as have to or need to.
Yes. And the majority of the times, I will say that they are kind of interchangeable.
Sí.
So don't worry too much about it because, the majority of the time you're going like to use one or the other and it's going to be correct.
Eso es. And we had one more.
Yeah, we have hay que plus the infinitive. That is similar to se debe plus the infinitive and se tiene que plus the infinitive. So all these 3 verbs or structures are just to express obligation in Spanish.
Es. Muy bien. Pues ya está todo dicho.
Pues bueno, eso es estupendo.
We hope you have enjoyed this lesson. You can see all the examples that we have given you and everything that we have spoken about in the blog article. And you can see the link in the description of this episode.
And if you would like more help with your Spanish and would like to receive regular free lessons on your email, then visit coffeebreaklanguages.com/Spanish.
Eso es. So look out for the next mini lesson in your inbox. Bueno, pues ya está, Anabel. Yo creo que está todo
dicho. Sí, estoy de acuerdo. Eso es todo por ahora, así que hasta la próxima.
And happy coffee breaking.
You have been listening to a Coffee Break Languages production for the Radiolingua Network. Copyright 2024 Radiolingua Limited. Recording copyright 2024 Radiolingua Limited. All rights reserved.